In 1998, we were facing that this would become a pile of rubble, a parking lot. If anything, we were lucky to save the building from demolition, but to reach the stage we're now completing restoration is through the Network to Freedom program. A demolition permit notice was published in the local paper. I read it. It was in August of '97. The board was not meeting that month. I thought this would be a great thing for the board to consider. So I made some calls. A meeting was held. It was decided to request of the Kansas State Historical Society a letter of support for saving this building. The building was the first building in Topeka. It was built in 1855. It was built as a commercial building, but quickly things became tough in the Kansas territory as it was, there was a national fight over its establishment as a pro-slave state. And the building was turned into a meeting hall by the town founders. So in this room, the convention met. There were 44 delegates elected from around the territory at the time. President Pierce and the national administration were concerned that Kansas would come in as a free state under this free state government having been established here and meeting on July 4th, ordered the federal troops from Fort Riley and Fort Leavenworth to come to Topeka to disperse the meeting, the first meeting of the Free State Legislature. There were cannons aimed at out on Kansas Avenue. There were cannons aimed at the building. Their long fuses were lit. Our research led us to look into publications of the time, on which the Kansas Historical Society was founded, based on a collection of newspapers from that period, and a little later. One of the things we found in the publications was an ad for storage commission and forwarding by a man named Daniel Horn, who we had earlier learned had been a treasurer or some official in the local Underground Railroad operation establishment. And the ad said, office, basement, Constitution Hall. Well, this really led us into much deeper research. We came to understand more about what the Underground Railroad was here, which seemed to be a somewhat commercial operation where people were paid to help people escaping slavery. So we called the National Park Service, seeing what we might learn from them. And after some period of time, communications with individuals, at the Park Service, we learned that a new program called the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom program had just been established by Congress. A round of grants was offered by the Network to Freedom program. We applied, I think, for $15,000 to study the building. The materials of this building are so interesting to us. They really help tell the story of what it was like to come to Kansas in 1855 and the hardships they faced and the opportunities as well. But for instance, some of the materials in the attics are cut up corn planters used as knee braces for ceiling rafters. Can you imagine having to use farm implements to make a structure due to river trade embargo because the pro-slavery forces don't want a free state? Having the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom listing and the National Register designation enabled us to continue to apply for grants, which we did and were successful in receiving. In roughly 2010, we installed steel to support the first floor framing. In 2011 or 12, we installed steel to stabilize and support the roof framing. There's been the opportunity to share parts of the building with the public, specifically with students. What students are most interested in is, as we observe, is the basement, the cellar. They've learned quite a bit about the Underground Railroad in their education. When they visit that room, it's dark, it's low, the floors are of sand. So we've been able to work with teachers in the community about its importance on the Lane Trail to Freedom. one of the most important things I think we've accomplished in the last few years is the reconstruction of the original facade based on drawings and sketches from the period. Today, we've begun a project to provide public access to the historic building by removing a building next door where we'll install an elevator, stairways, toilets. We're going to be seeing how and where the Topeka Constitution is written on the second floor, the room where we're in. We're going to have education programming in the first floor. We're going to have people visiting the cellar rooms where the Underground Railroad was set for the operation of the Lane Trail to Freedom. And we're going to have the opportunity to share this with the community, this building with the community, with visitors from everywhere.